Sean, Donald Trump takes over America on the 20th. It sounds like he's actually trying to take over, or at least certainly take on the entire world. And his comments are pithy and very, very disruptive. A lot to do with national security and indeed sovereignty. The first one of these is the maybe outrageous comments he's making about the Panama Canal.
You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. China's basically taken it over.
Yeah, I was fascinated by this. I mean, what the key part of this was he wouldn't rule out the use of force in taking back the Panama Canal. Now, I suspect a lot of viewers will go, yeah, Panama Canal, I've heard of it. It's worth mentioning that this is a 51-mile canal. It's the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. It was opened back in 1914. It was an immensely complicated project. In fact, I think it was the French who first started it. The Americans took over. It took about 10 years, and they ran it for the first bit of its life. Back in 1977, they did it jointly with the Panamanians, and then in 1999, the Panama Canal Authority took it on. I think the point that Trump was making, though, was he said the prices are now exorbitant for ships going through, and he blamed the Chinese for exploiting. I mean, just by way of context, this canal is used a lot each year. Can you imagine what the average cost of a ship going through this canal is? Just a rough idea.
Sean, I thought you might ask me that question. So sadly, I know the answer. So I can't lie. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's $54,000, and you know that sounds to me. I thought it'd be a few thousand. I didn't think it would be that high. And in context, there's over 14,500 ships go through this canal every year. So it's a huge revenue generator. The Americans invested the money, a huge amount of commitment at the time to get it ready. And now it's simply being given to the Panamanians. And I think what's happening here is Trump is going, hang on a minute. This is a key access route for our trade around the world. It's now being priced out the market by the Panamanians. Interesting, though, little stupid fact, that most expensive ship that went through was about $250,000. The cheapest rite of passage was 35 cents. It was offered to an American who wanted to swim the canal back in 1928. So there's a whole spectrum of costs to do with this canal.
Sean, that's an amazing, what we call it, factoid, I think.
Yeah, but I think but for me, the real message here was that Trump would not rule out using military force to take this back. And I think that's very worrying. Now, I'm sure he would turn around and say, of course we wouldn't. But the press made a big thing of it, and it was incredibly disruptive at the news conference.
Well, I don't think anybody on the entire planet could have predicted that Trump would attack this. And I think somebody sat in some bunker with him and tried to work out where are the hot points around the entire globe that in some way threaten the USA's national security or economic security. And, you know, this, both for those two reasons, is possibly one of them.
And we've discussed before, I think Trump is making a point here of his intent. I'm absolutely confident he's not intent on going militarily to go and seize the canal. But what he is doing is setting out a clear negotiating position, isn't he, ahead of his presidency, saying, you're charging too much. We need to have a conversation about that.